Hello there. It's me. It's me. It's PLD. And who's that over there? Oh, I didn't see. I didn't know who you were. Shoot your hands over your face like that. But it's
Aw, like my puppy, you lack object permanence.
it is my cohort, my friend, Lego. I know you're struggling with the show, but how are you doing today?
Oh, mini long-suffering sighs.
That makes a lot of sense. I'm sure this episode didn't help you in that. I can tell already. What we're
And what
doing
also
here.
doesn't help is that it's no longer on Tubi,
That's
which is
true.
just lame.
You have to actually like either pay for it or find another way to
Do
watch
you
it.
know how bad something has to be for Tubi to say we don't want it no mores?
It's got to surface somewhere. It'll surface. I think somebody wants it so much that they actually paid for the rights, and now they're going to have charge again for renting and things of that nature. I think that's
I
what's
think that they wasted their money if they spent over $1.
happening. Wow, because I
That's
spent a
not
lot more.
fair, that's not nice. I like to say every movie's someone's favorite movie. This is probably someone's favorite show. They have bad taste, but I respect it.
You know what? I've heard that said, and I try to live by that as well. And I always I try to be positive about shows and people because I hate watching someone like shit on my favorite shows. And I get it, even though it's, you know, sometimes things happen. But I sometimes sit there and wonder, does every show have someone who thinks it's their favorite show? Is someone's actual favorite show V from 2009? I I have a hard time
You never
imagining it.
know. You
Yeah,
never
you
know.
do never know. You do never know. If you are out there, you
Maybe
know
one of the writers likes it.
that's true. You know what? I will say that if they are in the world, there's a good chance they watch at least one of our episodes because they kind of went like, "Oh my god, someone's covering 2009's V. I got to check this out." They might have left early on, but they did maybe check us out. So then again, by season 2, episode 6, Siege, I think they've definitely checked out by now if they are a fan of the show. Because we have not found too many positive things to say about the show.
Yeah, I don't really like listening to podcasts that are shitting on things that I like.
Right. If they're
Though
shitting
I
on something I
love
hate,
listening to ones that are shitting on things that I also don't like.
yes. It's that like camaraderie on something. It's that shared community of love or hate, both strong emotions.
But this
Uh,
isn't like, I don't know, I feel like my complaints are fair.
no, I can't deny they're very. I think they're very valid. I think they're
They're
very
not
valid.
shallow.
Right. You're not necessarily shitting on it necessarily. Like you're not like picking out like you're taking serious criticisms of things and it's affected your viewing and that's fair. I mean, you can only be honest. That's all you can be. Um, so I will honestly say that surprises of surprises, at least the beginning of this episode, I actually kind of enjoyed this episode for the first time in a long time. That's a scary thought, I know, and it was definitely a low bar. Like, so I had very low hope of it like any other episode, but it did clear that bar. I say at the beginning of this episode because by the end of our podcast, and by the time you start poking all the holes in it, I might lose some love for it again. So let's see if I can make it through our episode of this on this podcast, and if I still have at least some modicum of respect for this episode. So let's get into it. Siege. We have moved into the next episode, and it is a little more. They're starting to get a little more serial. It's getting a little more storytelling. It is going from bit to bit a little bit. It's not exactly all blank of the week. We obviously are dealing with the ramifications of last episode when Marcus was shot.
I don't agree with that.
Okay, I think that
I don't disagree with it. I think the show's always kind of done that. This is definitely serialized television. It's not episodic.
I see. I would argue that it's been a little bit more serialized this season, especially the last couple episodes. In the ones we're going to do tonight, I feel like it actually at least has done a little bit more because it's been episodic in the nature. Yeah, there's the overarching story, but it kind of is always kind of like these little slices of what was going on in that story. This kind of felt like it at least kind of went from point A to B. It felt more continuous, like it almost like it was like one longer episode in a kind of way. It's like this was the actual next part of what happened in the show. Whereas a lot of times it's like kind of like something happens and then the next episode starts and they kind of like reset to ground zero again, kind of.
Yeah, but they still do that in this episode and upcoming episodes, which is there are very few things that aggravate me more than that.
Okay, I think they do a better job of it. Let's put it that way. I don't think it's perfect, but I do think they've done a better job at it than they had been doing, especially compared to the first season, I will say. We kind of have some continuance. And we start out, again, we are dealing with the ramifications of last episode. Obviously, Marcus was shot. Ryan has betrayed them or whatever, and they seem to know it. They seem to know that he's been betrayed. We still don't know how that happened, but I try to, like I said before, I try to judge every episode by the episode, not the previous. You gotta, when you're right, like, so if I get a chance to write that episode, even if I don't know what happened last episode, I at least got to, okay, that's what happened. So, like, they have decided that they knew that.
Great! Now we're going into multiverse of madness.
Great. You want to have an argument on that? I love that movie. I love that movie, and I know you don't. I know you don't. We'll have a conversation about that someday, I'm sure. I absolutely love that movie. You wait till PJ and I get to that in our MCU rewatch, because we are very, very high proponents, and we know we are the minority.
And you're wrong for that one. Head shake of disapproval.
And I will say, head nod of a big thumbs up for me. But again, has its faults. So this week's episode, Ryan, they said Ryan has betrayed them, and they know Ryan has betrayed them. I don't like how he did it last episode, but that's what we're starting with. That's the whole point of my conversation.
I fully missed how they came to the conclusion that there was a mole, but I think I was just so bored. I didn't.
The idea from last episode was that they all of a sudden there was, when Anna was walking up to the stage, somebody came up to her and told her, and so they jumped. They jumped to that conclusion.
Yeah, a jump.
It was absolutely a jump. And they jumped further to go, oh, it must have been Ryan because he's not here, and Ryan's the only one who knew about it, so Ryan must be the one who told her.
Can we talk about Ryan for a second?
We can absolutely talk about Ryan. Why don't you start us off with hit me with Ryan in this episode.
So Ryan goes to visit unnamed child, and I'm not being facetious about it this time. The child is unnamed.
Still unnamed, yes.
Okay, she's like 52, unnamed child. Okay.
I gotta interrupt you for a second. Like, jokes aside, I feel bad about us joking about that. I don't want to make you feel bad either, but I do have to say, rest in peace to Nicky Katt, who passed away this last couple weeks. He's the guy who played the young Sean Donovan in the weekly series, not the miniseries, in the weekly series. He did pass away. Unfortunately, I think he passed away due to suicide, and I feel bad for him. I always actually liked his acting outside. He was in Dazed and Confused. He had a couple of TV series. He was in Boston Public, a TV show about school for a while. I thought he was a really nice performer. I can't blame Sean, the weekly series, on him at all. Not him. Even if I could, that's not what I'm going to talk about anyway. I just want to say, our joke about the unnamed son of Mike Donovan, it was never about Nicky Katt. Nicky, rest in peace, and more feelings go out to you and your family and all of that. But I felt remiss if I didn't say it on our show that the actor had passed away. So going on now from there, this other actually unnamed child, Ryan's unnamed child.
Now I feel bad. Okay.
I'm sorry.
I guess back to Ryan. So he goes to have a discussion with Anna.
Yes.
He's asking Anna, what do you want? Feel like that should have happened 5 episodes ago.
I feel like it did happen 5 episodes ago.
But here's something that she replies that made me write what in all caps and circle it about 50 times. She said, "You once were my best hunter."
Yeah.
He was pretty high ranking then.
Yeah. Well,
and the follow-ups.
I mean, I guess is a hunter, even if it's the best hunter, is that high ranking in like the plans,
or did you just do it? That he clearly, the way he asserts himself, going back throughout all the episodes, is he definitely knows that she knows him.
Right. Right.
So he has some level
He does have some. Yeah, you know what? He does have
of
some
rank.
connection. Yeah, yeah, that's a good point.
And it's making me real mad. I think what would at this point would have been much more interesting is if he had been a double agent working against the fifth column the whole time.
That could have worked. That absolutely could have worked, and that would have been a
And
ballsy way to
I'm gonna
go.
be dramatic. And at a blom,
Where's your red pen? Do you have your red pen?
I put them away.
Too early. We have like 4 episodes left of the show.
Spring cleaning, PLD. Everything got organized.
That's fair. That's fair. No, you're right. Also, Anna gives him an assignment to kill Eli in response to the assassination attempt on Marcus. So, why does it take an assassination attempt for Anna, our like predatory villain who has no problem killing people, to set Ryan to kill a fifth column leader? Like, shouldn't that have been done like one of the first things? Like, and like, it feels like it's like you're doing this now. That now you waited for this long, and now you're going to tell him to kill like the leader of the fifth column, or who she thinks is the leader of the fifth column. I don't get that.
The visitors are like as smart as those aliens from Galaxy Quest.
that is pretty funny. That's pretty funny. Speaking of Ryan, he is sent away now to kill Eli, even though Ryan knows he won't be able to. He kind of basically says, "I'm not going to be able to do it, but I got to try." Before he does that, we do jump back and we get Erica and the home front team, and you get them having their usual kvetching sessions, and they are basically getting feisty about Ryan. Hobbs getting feisty about Ryan. There's a moment where Erica basically comes clean and says that the FBI is suspecting her because of what happened, which makes sense. Okay. I mean, it was on her watch that it happened. I did like the line when Hobbs got a little angry and was like, go home. Just go home. I don't know why Erica's not going home and taking time with her family. It makes sense to me, actually. But it's a little kvetching. But then we get to Father Landry. Father Landry has finally been given the boot. Been threatened this for like, I don't know how long.
I will now only be referring to him as Rickety Cricket.
Reggae Cricket.
Rickety Cricket.
Oh, Rickety Cricket. Okay. Rickety Cricket. Explain that reference.
That is the character from It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia. He begins as a Catholic priest who leaves so that he can be in a relationship with Dee, but she does not actually want to be in a relationship with him. And his life goes into a downward spiral. And every episode, we see him, I'm going to use the word deteriorate further and further. Okay. It's a running gag. Pretty hilarious. Although pretty sad, but he's also a terrible person, so you just don't really feel bad for him. Gotcha.
That makes sense. I will say, that was one of my favorite lines of dialogue in the series. When the old man guy was saying, I told you, you're speaking out of visitors will make you lose your faith. And he just turned and said, it's not making me lose my faith. That was a nice little moment for Jack to come to agreement that he doesn't need to have the collar, doesn't need to be a priest to have his faith. Strong for him, and I liked that line, and I thought it was well said by Joel Gretsch. I believe that's the actor's name.
My soul had already very much left my body, and I was trying to figure out, because I didn't have subtitles, what they said. I know it's not called laid aside, but that's what I heard.
It's Leazine or Leazine.
Say, man, priest got a fancy name for being fired.
I gotta find it. I don't know. Laicized. I don't know what it is either. I gotta figure that out though. I did like that actually. There it is. It is laicized. Yes. The canon law of Catholic Church, the loss of clerical state, the removal of bishop, priest, or deacon from the status of being a member of the clergy. I like I'm all for learning vocabs, and that nothing else, we're learning vocabulary words.
And before we move to the next scene, which we will do after I say this, I would like it noted somewhere on my permanent record that I did not make any Catholic jokes here, because I thought of a few of them.
I will be noting that down. It'll go in your permanent record that you chose mercy, and you chose to, as Jesus would say, turn the other cheek.
Yep, so. Turned it.
Okay, fair enough. Let's talk about the Evans family outing. The Evans family
Outing is a strong word.
Well, the attempted family outing, I should say. Maybe that.
The Evans family smiley conversation.
That was supposedly leading to an outing, but I, I kind of like the idea of her and him of Joe getting back together in a way because it kind of actually makes sense story wise. If Joe figures out what happened was not really what he thought had happened, and the V's were involved, and now Ryan needs him, or Tyler needs him. This all kind of actually flows and makes sense to me that they might, because they're going to start being together for Tyler, but they kind of feel that spark a little bit again. I actually liked how they did it. The performances were pretty nice. I enjoyed them together, even though I knew it wasn't going to last.
He might as well have said, "I'll be right back," and after asking, "Who's there?"
He did actually, yes. It was pretty. It did set off some warning bells early on. I honestly forgot the end of this episode, so I didn't remember. I have not remembered any of these episodes in season 2. I really don't. The only thing I remember about season 2 is, well, I have one scene I remember, which we'll talk about when it gets there. It's towards the end of the season. And then actually 2 things. And then finally, I remember Mark Singer. That's all I remember from season 2.
So my notes read Erica, son, and hubby, because I couldn't remember their names, stay out together. And then next word I wrote, he's going to get killed.
Of course. Of course.
Forgot I called it.
Yeah, but I don't think that's necessarily a bad thing that you called it. I don't think it's necessarily bad to be. Sometimes things like that are tropes and they're predictable a little bit, but I don't think that necessarily means they're bad. It just means
no, not at all.
So I think this actually was a good way to do it. I could have used a couple episodes with them. I kind of like the idea of them building a little more time together. Actually, because I kind of like Joe. I kind of like the actor. I don't know what about him I really like, but I kind of feel like I could have used a little bit more development with him, especially because we had the Erica Tyler thing for a while now. So adding someone to that mix makes it a little more interesting, having a different dynamic, how they kind of play off each other a little bit. It could have been. I think they could have used him for a little bit longer than they did, but unfortunately, they did not.
Yeah, but we need Tyler to go full.
Yeah, full yeah, okay. Okay.
No, I was gonna make a joke, but then I realized that's actually really in bad taste, and then I floundered.
Okay. I'll
in
let
real
you
time. Couldn't recover.
But you know what? You pause yourself, you turn the other cheek again, and it's all about turning cheeks. I don't know how many cheeks you got.
I'm all for making the Catholic jokes. I don't feel bad about those at all. That's their own fault. But
Okay.
this joke was actually in bad taste.
Okay. All right, that's fair. Okay, so Ryan goes and tries to do his job, but gets caught pretty easily by Eli and his crew, by your hot mummy guy, Oded Fair. Is that what is it? Hot mummy guy? Is that what we're calling
Sexy
him?
mummy guy.
Sexy mummy guy. Sorry, sexy. Hot.
I
Sexy.
abbreviated in my notes. He's SMG.
SMG, sexy mummy guy.
Yeah, well, SMG called Erica about Ryan.
I wonder if Oded could change his name. Oded Fair can change his name to that SMG. I mean, I could see him.
I mean, he's already got a pretty good name.
That's Oded Fair. So they capture Ryan, and he gets caught. Ryan, obviously, his heart isn't in the whole thing. Honestly, he's doing it because he has to. So then Eli SMG does call Erica and ruins the family outing, or what was going to be the family outing. And we learn quickly that we don't know what to do. Everything's getting crazy all of a sudden. So Anna then decides to send a tracker after Ryan because she doesn't trust Ryan. And I feel smart, smarter than Anna has been in a long time. I don't know about what you think, but I just feel like the visitors haven't been very smart at all. I think that was actually kind of a smart decision. Back up your guy. If you don't trust the guy, you back him up a little bit with something else. I think they were pretty smart the whole episode. The visitors were kind of smart the whole episode, which kind of surprised me.
Sure.
I mean, I could be wrong. I'm looking at my notes. I haven't got to the end, but so far I'm like, I get where they're going with this. Okay, she's being smart.
I think I was paying more attention to the FBI, to be honest.
The FBI was being pretty dumb. They're being patsies pretty easily. All right. So Erica goes to Eli because obviously Ryan's there, and she tries to, she talks to Ryan. And what did you think about Erica, not having any kind of forgiveness for Ryan at all? It felt like I felt like it was a surprise to me in a good way. I didn't like. I kind of felt like they were going to let him off the hook.
Oh, I didn't get that sense at all.
I thought that because it was going to be her and Jack would let him off the hook because the children. Because
I
Ryan,
felt like
knew that
Jack may have, but I don't think Erica would have. I think that was in line with her character.
Because I thought, I mean, it kind of, I could see both ways. I kind of thought it was going to be the whole, like, it's my child. I'm doing this for my child. It's like you're doing everything for Tyler. I was doing everything for unnamed baby. Or whatever. But it didn't. And she didn't care. And I kind of liked that aspect of her. I think that was a good, solid choice. Because it could have been easy to do the whole child thing at this point. I think it was good a little bit of a good swerve for that. So I liked that. Anna does let the information go over to the FBI. Obviously, I do. That's the only thing I liked also, by the way, because the visitors could have gone and just taken Eli out themselves.
Yeah, I do agree. I think that the visitors, I thought about it. The visitors were being tactical this episode in rare form.
Yes,
first time ever form.
Yes. In fact, like
inconsistent with the rest of the show.
Yes. That I will give you, but again, I'm trying to concentrate on just this episode, which is why I'm doing that. But yes, the FBI, sending the FBI, then therefore they don't have to get involved. The FBI can do their dirty work for them. They come out smelling like roses. Their guy got assassinated. The humans are taken care of, attacked, and then the humans are going to take care of the business for them. Perfect. But then they also don't let them. The good thing about it too, though, is they're smart in that they don't just trust the FBI is going to do it. They bring in their other sleeper agent, kind of, Kyle Hobbs. The next person they have to have something over on. Towards the end of the episode, obviously, that comes into play.
Like, this honestly, it's a bit. Like, it's the whole Kyle Hobbs thing was just doing the Ryan storyline over again.
Right. That is definitely the worst part about it. I'm kind of like, okay, so everybody's eventually going to be caught up in this somehow. So Erica's going to have something. Is it going to happen to everybody? I almost wonder if it's part of me sits there and goes, is it cleverer than I think it is?
No.
Like, probably not. But like, you don't like, you kind of, because you're thinking about that, it's like, well, it's something that it's what I wouldn't have expected to happen. But then again, I'm like, I wouldn't expect it to happen because it's bad writing. I try to go back and forth on whether I can see what they're going for. I can't really see what they're going for here, but I do like the visitors' side of things. Like I said, they gave information to the FBI, and then they followed it up with a backup plan. Happens. I don't happen to like the backup plan itself because of what it means to our story.
I think the backup plan I don't know. I just feel like it could have been done differently, and by differently, I mean better. Like the guy who went and gave Joe the schematics could have also been the person to blow it up.
Yes, and that would have been a much better storyline. Absolutely, 100%.
And then it'd be funny because then Joe and Erica would both be dead. Why not kill them all?
Kill them all?
Yeah.
You just want the series to be over. I know you.
I find maybe I watch too many horror movies because sometimes when a character is annoying me, regardless of what genre, I'm just like, okay, when is someone going to kill this person off? Oh, wait, this is Twisters. It's not a horror movie. Never mind. Although I felt it, I could chase it.
You felt it chase? Okay, well, I actually have yet to see Twisters. So I'm kind of curious.
I really hope you know the line, though.
I do know the line. Okay. I know the line. I was kind of wondering what character you wanted to kill off.
Main guy.
Glenn Powell?
Glenn
Powell?
Yes.
Okay. Are you not a Glenn Powell fan? Are you like an anti-Glenn Powell person?
I mean, I'm not anti-Glenn Powell, but I've only seen him in 2 movies.
What movies what was the other movie you saw him in?
I may have watched Anyone But You 5 times. It's fine. It's hilarious. You have these 2 stupid himbos, but they're both pretty, and like you're just like, I don't know, they shouldn't be together, but like they're just a mess, and I'm here to watch it because I like soaps, and that's basically a soap. It was funny.
You always surprise me. I always feel there's layers of you I just am discovering. You watching Anyone But You 5 times just would not have been on my bingo card.
It's so funny. Like, at first I watched it, I'm like, "Oh, I hated it," but then I was, like, sitting there, I'm like, "But I wanna watch it again." So I did. I'm like, "You know what? I was wrong. I love it."
I
I'm usually willing to give something a second chance. So when I'm not willing to give something like V 2009 a second chance, then I really, really don't like it.
well, you've also have given it like 10 or 9 or 10 or 11 chances actually, because how many episodes are we on now? 16, I think. Whatever. Anyway, okay. So Glenn Powell. Let's get off Glenn Powell actually. Although Glenn Powell, I feel like he'd be the guy if we were making V into a movie right now. I
He
think Glenn
would
Powell's the
be
guy.
Donovan.
Would be Donovan. It'd either be Glenn Powell or Ryan Gosling. That would be the two choices potentially. I think Glenn Powell would be the better choice, honestly. And I love Ryan Gosling. I
If
do.
the options are anyone and Ryan Gosling, the choice, unless it would be, like, inappropriate, is Ryan Gosling.
I
In which
love
case,
me
the
some
only
Ryan
time it's
Gosling.
inappropriate is if it's a black
I,
character from history.
I love me some Ryan Gosling. There's some certain things I feel Glenn Powell might be able to do just a smidge better. Like, I just feel like Glenn Powell would have a little bit more. I'm picturing Donovan a little more cocky, and Ryan Gosling can do cocky. I know. There's something about Glenn Powell that just steams cockiness. I think Ryan Gosling's a better actor. I think he's a better performer overall. There are some swaggery roles. I think Glenn Powell just has a little bit of an edge on him, personally. Not that Gosling would do a bad Mike Donovan. Don't get me wrong. I'm excited he's going to be in Star Wars now. So, I mean, that's fun for me. Especially considering I think Glenn Powell was up for a Star Wars role too, and then Gosling got it. But that's neither here nor there.
So I've just recently learned that Glenn Powell actually has no relation to Clint Eastwood, and I definitely thought that was one of Clint Eastwood's sons or grandsons. But then I learned that's a totally different man,
Yeah.
and whose name I have forgotten. Scott Eastwood, maybe.
Scott Eastwood, yes, that's Scott.
I
Not
definitely
Glenn.
thought Glenn Powell was Scott Eastwood, which was why I was very confused when you said the name Glenn Powell. I'm like, who? Oh, right, he's not the Eastwood boy. Different
No,
person.
I believe he's a much better performer than Scott Eastwood is.
That's what everyone kind of has the consensus on. I just feel like he looks like
Okay.
Clint Eastwood.
Okay. I'd be curious as to what you feel about Hitman. That's the Glenn Powell movie. I wonder if you would like or not. I don't know. I never know with you. Sometimes I always think I've always when I think you're gonna like something, sometimes I'm just very wrong. And then I think you're gonna hate something, and then there comes anyone but you. And so things just change on me. You're a mystery wrapped in an enigma, wrapped in a whatever. Anyway, back to the show.
I wrote around this point, oh man, I'm only 14 minutes in.
That's pretty fair. That is pretty fair. I am like, I got to play in the background. It kind of remind me what's going on. Yeah, I'm about 16 minutes in now. Joe is watching sports ball with his son. He's watching football with Tyler. But that's when it goes out that Erica is there with Eli and Ryan. They're surrounded by the FBI, and they have to figure out a way out of it. And Erica comes up with a brilliant, and I use that in quotation marks. I say quotation marks, not very brilliant. Brilliant plan of being a hostage herself so that
It's so dumb.
they will stand off. It gets, you know what? Even though I like the episode, I like a lot of episodes surrounded, I do think that was dumb because at the end, and the worst part of it is the whole thing. The worst part of it at the end is at the end, it works. It clears her name.
So dumb.
That's the dumbest part about it. Like the idea of her being a hostage. Okay, I can kind of make it. I can kind of watch it and go, okay, I can see what they're attempting to
It's
do.
like, tell me you're a civilian without telling me you're a civilian.
Right. But then the FBI at the end, when he says, "Oh yeah, I guess Erica's definitely not one of them."
No, they would
She
have
happened
so
to
many questions. She would be going into, like, a lockdown and interrogation
right
room for a
because
while.
she was supposed to be off duty. She was in the room.
How would she have even gotten there? That still
Right.
doesn't answer, why she was meeting up with Father Jack.
Right.
It's still that like, there's still a lot of questions that doesn't answer.
So
It doesn't fix shit.
that at the end, I will have my note there. That's why I wrote the notes there. I'm kind of like, that's that's what we're going to do. That's why how we're clearing her name made no sense to me at all.
It's just like one of those things where it's like a kid's writing something. It's like, no, you don't know how the world works yet. Bless your heart.
You know what? You're not wrong. I think like my kid could have written something better at a young age. He did write stuff better than that in 3rd grade.
So I don't know. I found it a little annoying how close Jack was to the building. Like they would have to be a little further back, and they were there immediately, like before the FBI almost.
Yeah, they're pretty close. Jack did see it. Jack saw it on the TV screen too. That's why I got upset. Like that's like kind of like wow.
Was it Jack or Chad?
Was Jack with Chad?
I don't know. I was talking about Chad, but I feel like I said Jack.
Oh, Chad. At least I said Jack. Okay. Then Chad, yes, that makes more sense. Yeah, Chad happened to be there very quickly. That's very true. Yeah, I didn't like that either. I guess so. Anna wants to get Joe inside because he wants to get rid of Erica and Joe so that Tyler will be all in on Team Anna and Team Visitor. Getting him inside was pretty convenient, also, I will say, because the idea that Caldwell
so dumb. Why would he go?
Why? Right.
Dude, like, you know that she's working with them, so she's not in any danger. It's so asinine. Like, honestly, when he got, I'm like, dude, you made all the wrong choices. I can't even feel bad.
Yeah. I mean, I guess, like, you could say he doesn't know that Eli is with her, maybe. I don't know how much she's told. I mean, he knows the visitors are bad, and he knows that Erica's working against them. But SMG is a known like terrorist at this point who's top level, so maybe he doesn't think that they are actually working together. He doesn't understand.
What did he think he was going to do by going into building?
That is the point. Yeah, that's a dumb.
Did he bring a bazooka? A gun?
Right.
A grenade?
But you know what? Dumb white male husband with testosterone. I could see him trying to be the hero. I could see that in a way.
He's been married to an FBI agent for many a year.
But he's just fallen back in love with her. All of a sudden, he's starting with her again, and now he's going to do something dumb.
You're going to make me sick.
He thinks he's being romantic. He thinks he's being the man. Remember, he's trying to prove something. He's trying to prove something to Tyler and everything else because he hates what he did. He blamed himself for what he did, and he's trying to make up for it. So I kind of got him going for it towards the end. It took me a bit, but I got there.
The writers are really like, how do we get them in the room together when they could have just had them both go?
Yeah, that would have been the best idea, honestly, easily to do. But I guess, but then Eric would be like, would Erica have taken him, considering Joe has no experience at ever? Maybe she doesn't want him involved. I don't know. That's a good question, but there definitely was a better way than just having "quote unquote" Agent Caldwell leave the schematics.
Honestly, he could have just been outside of the building with Tyler, and someone could have accidentally shot him.
Or taken him hostage and brought him in or something like that.
No, I'm just saying, like, at the end, when his death could be the exact same way it happens in the show, he just doesn't go in the building. Huh. He could have just stood outside watching and waiting for her to come out.
I actually, speaking of his death, I did like his death. It didn't surprise me. I knew, like, I did predict that was going to happen because everybody was too happy. That's what happens in shows. Everybody's too happy someone's going to die. But his death, I thought, was pretty well handled, well performed. I liked the music involved. I enjoyed that aspect. It did get I got a twinge of human emotion watching it. So considering how much I haven't loved the show, I haven't loved a lot of these characters, that's like a huge point for that.
Human what?
Emotion.
Soul.
The soul.
Don't know that. Mine left, vacated. It's on vacation.
And maybe Anna's looking for it. Maybe Anna got your soul. Maybe that's what she's looking for, and she's trying to study it. I did. So you didn't like his death at all. You didn't care.
I didn't care.
Okay. You didn't like the music swell even?
There was a music swell.
There was.
Didn't catch it.
I enjoyed the music swell. I did.
Did not notice it whatsoever.
Halfway through this, you are knocking my love down a little bit. I'll give you that. But I still overall think it's my favorite episode so far. So
that's
we both win.
Tragic low bar.
It is. I will admit that it's a low bar. I admitted that right away from the get-go that it was a low bar. I think it's because it's a low bar that I am willing to give everything a pass. I'm like, hey, you know what? We've seen much worse at this point. Let's see.
I mean, yeah. Can we talk about Tyler's non-existent DNA?
Yeah, let's talk about the non-existent DNA.
Okay, so I think it's Anna. It says Tyler is critical to the future of our planet. So let's kill his parents so we can indoctrinate him into our alien cult. That's not what she said verbatim.
It wasn't? I thought that was actually a direct
But
quote.
pretty
Sounded like a
close.
direct quote.
Pretty close. Anyway, so at that point, I'm like, oh, okay, I get it now. He has gaps in his DNA, which is probably holding like a code or something. Like in Supergirl, I think it's season 3 when Mon-El comes back in time with the vaccine coded into his DNA to stop the blight.
I remember that kind of vaguely.
So that was my assumption. By the way, I'm totally right. Well, okay, it's not a vaccine, but there's a like code or something
right.
in his
Yes.
DNA.
Something specific that is necessary for the propagation of their species.
Which, as it also would turn out, I guess were only doing that in boys. They were focusing on the Y chromosome. I'm not pounding my head against a table and screaming or anything.
No,
It's
you're not.
fine. I totally love gynecological stuff in movies and television. Woohoo. Great.
We should watch more of those movies then. We should definitely we can actually have a sub list of gynecological horror movies for you and I. That can be our next show. I don't know what we
So I
call
have
it.
a list of gynecological horror films.
Okay.
Of course I do. But I also
Why does that not surprise me at all? At all? Why did it not surprise me?
Well, okay, so what I'm doing now is I made a giant list of horror movies on IMDb because I needed to be able to transfer it to a spreadsheet, and I don't think I can do that through Letterboxd. I think I have to go through IMDb. Plus, it's easier to organize things on IMDb than it is on Letterboxd because you can manually just replace what number you want its position to be in. Anyway, so I have a spreadsheet now. It's 26 pages long, no big deal. It's 1,740 films, I think, all horror movies.
740 gynecological horror.
No, not gynecological horror.
Oh, okay.
Hang on. But
Sorry,
I'm starting to organize it by genre and subgenre.
Okay.
And that way I can start to figure out, because I have lists on vampires, werewolves, witches, so on.
Right.
I had one, but I deleted it. But it was essentially kind of like movies where the Black character lives, because not a lot of those, unfortunately. Gynecological horror. One I like to call suddenly cannibalism, which is movies where it's like, oh, didn't see that coming, actually. So not like a Texas Chainsaw Massacre, but more like a period piece about 2 lesbians living in the South, and then they eat, I can't remember his name.
Oh.
But it's all in the sauce. So it's
all in the sauce. Okay.
Secrets in the sauce.
Secrets of the sauce. Cannibalism.
Did not see the cannibalism coming. What a surprise.
So that's a subgenre, surprise cannibalism.
Yes.
Okay.
Surprise cannibalism.
I would love to see just the list of all your genres and subgenres. I find I would be fascinated by that. I think I would be fascinated by that. Gynecological horror. I just okay, good.
Right now, I think one of my favorite is The Town is Zombies.
The Town is Zombies. Okay, is that
like Dead and Buried, Messiah of Evil.
Okay. So they could kind of like come to the town and they're already zombies, or like the town becomes zombies?
The town becomes sort of
zombies.
both.
Okay.
But maybe we're also zombies too, and we didn't know it.
I didn't know it. Okay. All right, that's fair. All right. That's yeah. Cannibalism also is the reason I'm skipping one movie not because of cannibalism, but you speak of cannibalism, and I've been watching through the In Search of Darkness stuff slowly but surely kind of thing. And I decided I'm not going to watch Cannibal Holocaust.
I saw that in when I was 14. I can't remember if it was 8th or ninth grade. And I don't remember who was watching it. One of the older boys was watching it, so I was watching it. And then they kept pointing out the real animals that were getting killed.
Yes.
I'm like, yeah, I'm done. Thanks. Bye.
Yeah, I
I
read
have
that.
come back and finished it though.
You did? Okay.
I just skipped those bits.
Okay.
There was I've had a few times where I've been watching videos and someone will like insert the music from Cannibal Holocaust and I always get a laugh out of it.
Okay.
I think I don't watch Euphoria, but apparently like one of the season finales, I think, used the music from that as a
Really?
joke. I'm like, if you get it, you get it, and if you don't, you
No, you
don't. But
don't.
for those who did, I'm sure it was hilarious. But I've also watched other like Italian horror films in that genre, like Cannibal Ferox? Ferox?
Furrow, yes. I know what you're
Ferox.
talking about. Yeah, I think I believe it's
Like, I
Furrow, yeah.
like Italy, I don't know how an X works in Italian.
I will say it's not the cannibalism that turned me off. I can watch a cannibal movie. It was the animal deaths, and I was kind of like, I just don't want to do that, even though I've heard all about it.
Yeah, I'm
Yeah,
definitely a frequent visitor of doesthedogdie.com, but
mhm,
I've seen some really gnarly animal stuff in horror movies, unfortunately. Wish I
mhm.
could unsee some of it. I don't think anything was as traumatizing, though, as a totally not horror movie at all. It's a Nick Cage and Matthew Modine picture from the early '80s called Birdie. I do think it's a great movie, but and I don't know how they did this, and I couldn't find any information on it, but, have you seen Martyrs?
Yes, yes.
They so they're collecting dogs
Mhm.
and for, like, the pound, and they roll up, and this dude skins a dog,
Right, yeah.
and
Yeah.
this is a low budget '80s movie, and I think he just skinned a dead dog. I
Uh,
don't think I've ever screamed that loud in my life.
oof,
Like,
yeah, I know.
that
Oof,
was
yeah.
seared into my mind.
Yeah, yeah, not for me either. I can't do it either. And I guess I am a little hypocritical considering I watched Friday the 13th and the snake is killed, right? And like we know there's actually a real snake killed. But yet I can go through that. I guess it is not glorified really. It's kind of quick and I kind of just pretend it's not real. I don't know. I don't know why. Maybe it's hypocritical, but
I don't know because 'cause I've seen stuff where it's like, that's definitely a puppet.
Mhm.
I think it's called Madhouse, it's an Italian film,
Haven't heard of
and
them.
this guy uses a drill bit to kill a dog.
Oof,
It's definitely a puppet, but, like,
right,
it's just they hold on it because it's puppet, they can.
right.
Nah, 0 stars, I hate this movie.
Yeah, forget it. Forget it. Stuff that's worse than V. There you go. Hey, I'll take it. I was doing
Now you
that
just
on
made me
purpose.
more depressed. Let's go back to talking about anyone but you.
No, but weren't those things worse than V? Wouldn't you rather watch V than those things? If you had to watch one of them,
I'm
I'm putting you on the spot
thinking.
here.
Birdie is pretty good. You can just skip that one scene. They should just edit it out.
All right, all right, all right. So we got more Thomas this episode, and I still feel like that's a bad decision. I don't like Thomas. The actor's fine; it's not his fault, but it feels like again we're just replacing Marcus. So
Yeah, they
why
don't again, it's just going back to that thing that I said about, like,
replaceable parts?
I don't like putting something back a few steps
Right?
just to have it reset to status
Yeah.
quo, and that's all they do. They're not advancing the plot in any way, shape, or form. They're just putting our characters back and then going back to status quo. They're not shifting really at all, and so it becomes very, static, and I just get very bored.
Agreed, and it doesn't feel like anything happened. It feels completely just like okay, piece taken out, insert piece here, and let's continue. Um, let's see, Erica abandoning Ryan. Okay, so Erica not forgiving Ryan, I get, but abandoning him to death when he's leaving. Any thoughts on that?
Listen, everyone for themselves and their stupid teenage sons.
Yes,
It's
that's fair.
war. You don't get a second chance. We can't risk these kind of things.
Let me ask you this. because we have like spoiler alert for anybody. We're actually recording 2 episodes next we watched. So we watched this one and the next one. I'm not going to talk about the next one at all. But were you at all? Did you know that Ryan had gotten out of it at the end?
I assumed he had.
You assumed he had. Okay, but it wasn't like shown, right? I didn't just miss it, right?
I don't think so. I think
Okay.
if you did miss it, I did too.
Because I did right at the end, kind of like Ryan dead, because he kind of left him. Building as obviously Kyle blew up the building on the visitors orders. Ryan, the last we saw is Ryan was chained up in the chair, and then that was it. So I don't know if we're supposed. I guess that's the problem is that we were either supposed to think he was dead, maybe, but we didn't even really think about it. Like obviously they failed.
Yeah, I just didn't care.
There you go. Poor Morris Chestnut.
I know. How do you make me not care about Ricky dying?
Right. That's a flip. I gotta mention this. I know the funny thing is, I said at the top of this episode that I like this episode, and I do. I still think it's my favorite one. I think it's mainly, like I said, because of the performance by Erica. I do love Erica this episode. I think she does a really good job performing. Not given a whole lot, but when she does have to, like the death scene with Joe, I think she was really good in.
Okay, that's what I felt like you were gonna say, and I'm just like, yeah, because that actress is just really good at crying.
She's really good.
Sad.
That's true. But she handled it very well. I'm going to give her credit where credit's due. That kind of swayed me a little bit. Are they okay?
Yeah.
Okay.
I have motion sensor light, and it scared me.
Okay. Fair. So I do like her in this role, and that definitely won me over. But there's a lot of stuff I keep looking at my notes and kind of like, yeah, but this happened. Yeah, this happened. And one of the biggest things that this happened is more Anna and Diana doing the same conversation, talking about soul. And I gotta say, there was the best line of the episode only because it was the most truthful line any character has ever said on this show ever. Diana says, "How long are we going to do this?" And I said, "That's what I want to know, Diana. That's what I want to know." Back to the resistance at that point. This is the big end where Erica comes back to the resistance, which is now at this point is Chad, Landry, and Kyle Hobbs. That's your resistance at this point.
No, PLD. Sexy mummy guy bequeathed onto us his
which we'll get to for the next episode. His black book, his little black book.
Yeah.
But like,
that's a phone book.
Well, sure. But what we have there at the end is like I'm looking at our resistance. I'm like, wow, this is like just a not very strong resistance crew. But we do have Erica being very strong.
Sexy science guy wasn't in this scene.
Where was sexy science?
We're reminded of him, then we'll know we're in good hands.
It all seems better then at that point when he's there. That's true. I guess that's true. Erica is declaring war now, though. And Kyle Hobbs is now in a weird place because now he fucked them over. And that's pretty much where we end. Although I do think there is cool music at the end as well. I'm going to give props for credit. Credit deserved. Cool music at the end. Erica was strong acting throughout. So that, I guess, is where I'm going to close out my review of this episode. Still shitty, but better than we've ever had based on Elizabeth Mitchell's acting. That's what I'm aired on. So you didn't completely beat me down. You took me down a few pegs.
PLD forgot about a scene.
Did I? Oh, tell me about it. Go ahead. Let me tell.
Okay. So then we get to the climax, right? Okay, so Joe, that's his name, right? Joe has been killed. Hubby.
Yes.
Tyler and Erica go home, and he decides to pack up his stuff and leave his grieving mom and go live with his girlfriend because he's all of 18 years old. And I guess that's what you do when you're in grief is, abandon your parent. That's really great. He's making good, strong, human choices.
Fueled by human emotion.
Is it? He shows a serious lack of empathy.
She does smack him because he blames her for his father's death.
Good for her.
He blamed her for his father's death. That's true. You know what? I did forget one other scene. that we should mention at the same time because there's another mother scene. It is
Wait.
Lisa finding Diana. There wasn't a whole lot to that. Wasn't a whole lot to it. So Lisa found Diana, and it felt like continuation of how long we're going to do this. Now it's like, oh, so now Lisa's going to step in and have these same conversations, just from a slightly different angle. It'll be the same basic conversation, a little less antagonistic.
I did have one last note about Erica and Tyler. I said,
Okay.
honestly, just kill him already and adapt. Donovan did. I'm very mean in my notes.
You are very mean. You're a very mean person, it looks like. I'm sorry to say. I thought you were much nicer than this, but maybe not. Should have to reevaluate my opinion of you at this point. I don't know. Darker, more mean.
I'm a cold-blooded fictional character killer. You gotta kill your darlings.
Kill your darlings. Okay, fine.
Although I don't like that movie.
I've heard that. I don't. That does not surprise me in the least. See, you don't always surprise me. I'm getting there with you. I think by the time we have like another 10,000 episodes, I'll have you completely figured out. Maybe. Probably not. Probably not. Because then I think at that point you'll change. You'll change it up just to.
I once had someone say that me liking Passions was the most on-brand thing I'd ever said, which I don't think that's right, but it's not wrong either.
It is, and it isn't. That's why you're so confusing. So confusing. Well, the folks want to figure you out. Where can they go to try to figure you out?
I mean, I guess you can go to the Unhinged Binge on Instagram and YouTube, or Lego Rants on YouTube and Letterboxd.
Find me on this channel. My name is all over the brand here. You can find me doing Star Wars with Matty Gunner every week. You can find me doing Two Middle-Aged Geeks on Film with PJ Campbell. We are going through the Superman films now and enjoying them for the most part. We did not like 3 very much, and I'm very scared to watch 4.
So mean to 3.
I'm trying to pinpoint you now. I'm trying to pinpoint where you are on 3. And I think you liked it more than I did.
Oh, I definitely do like it more than you. I'm pretty sure I like 4 more than you too.
Oh, that's not a stretch.
And then when we get to what would be the Returns. Honestly, I
Returns.
don't remember it very well. I only saw it the once.
PJ and I did enjoy that one more than others. We admit it's flawed, but we do like it, and we'll go on from there. But I would be interested in hearing at some point you talk about Superman 4 and try to defend it. Superman 3, I understand, has its defenses. I don't really agree with many of them, but there are.
Well, let me tell you about the glorification of our man, Ducky. Okay. I love the Duck Man, and I like him, getting a little bit comeuppance in a villain way.
Okay.
And that leads him to becoming Lex Luthor in Supergirl, where he was very good.
He was very good. No, that's true. So 4, I guess you could look at it that way. I haven't watched 4 in a while, so I can't speak on 4. 3, you've already heard my thoughts on. The only way it's a good movie is if you look at it like a Richard Pryor family comedy. If you look at it like that,
and I do.
See that? When you say that, I can understand why you like Independent. So, all right, that's it. We're done here. You know where I am. You can find me. You can join us on patreon.com/PLD Projects as well. That's where PJ and I are doing our MCU rewatch. And in some cases, you'll get some early episodes. Like hell, because we're recording 2 episodes tonight, you're going to get these episodes early on Patreon if you're there. If you're not, I get it. It's okay. I understand. You can still support other ways. Comment, like, subscribe, all that jazz. But we will be back in 2 weeks to deal with birth pangs and getting closer and closer to the end of the series. And then we'll have a party for Lego. And then we will move on to, we have the audio stuff to do, the 3-hour-long episodes from Big Finish. We are going to do a episode. We're going to start doing some review adjacent before we also do some comics and books. I think the first episode of review adjacent will be an olive branch to Lego, and we will probably do Independence Day as our first review adjacent episode. And I don't know if I think people are, if you only watch Lego here, which shame on you. But if you only want to go here, you'll be able to see her positive for the first time in almost probably a year.
I mean, typically, if you ever do listen to a review, I do. I only review things that I like.
Right. And that's fair. That's fair. So you get another side of you, at least this way. You turned another cheek here again. You're always turning cheeks. See you next time, guys. Bye.